Good morning, everybody. Could this be Angela Rayner's last day in government in the UK? The fact that those two things are in the same sentence, Angela Rayner and UK government, is almost beyond belief, but that's where we are anyway. She's not the most intelligent of people, but she is certainly very, very gobby. She can talk for the country and she can talk an absolute load of rubbish for as long as you put her on the stage. You can wind her up like a mouse, a clockwork mouse, and she'll just keep going, talking nonsense until the lights go off and the cameras go off. But she, of course, has got herself into a lot of trouble by this hypocrisy, dishonesty, whatever you like to call it, about her three homes that she has. Well, two of the three homes, because one of her homes comes with the job of being deputy prime minister. And if she gives that up, or if she's fired from that later today, of course, she won't have three homes anymore, but she will still have two homes. And these are the two homes which are getting her into trouble. So, of course, as you've probably read, her original family home that she's lived in for a long time is in Ashton-under-Lyne, which is in Greater Manchester. That's where she's an MP for that constituency. And she spends a lot of time there caring for her children. It's her family home. She says her possessions are there. She's registered there for credit cards, for the dentist, she's on the electoral roll there, all those kind of things, which is normal, which most normal people have. Most normal people have one home. You may possibly have two homes for a short amount of time if you're buying and selling a place, but then, you know, the place that you're moving into becomes your primary residence when you leave your first primary residence. But what Angela Rayner has done, of course, as we all know, is she's bought a flat in Hove on the Sussex coast, and she has declared that that is her primary residence. And by doing that, she has saved herself £40,000 in stamp duty, which is due to the HMRC, which will then go to the Treasury so that the Labour government can do all these wonderful things they do with your tax money, like giving it away to migrants and giving it away to people who are receiving huge amounts of subsidies for putting up wind turbines and solar panels, all of these things that they think are necessary for the country to run properly. Of course, they don't. It's just money that goes down a black hole. But, you know, she's part of that system and she should be paying into it if that's what she believes in. But she only paid £30,000 of stamp duty. I say only. I mean, I don't think there should be stamp duty on primary residences at all. That's Heritage Party policy. There should be on secondary residences, but not the primary residences. But she only paid £30,000 rather than £70,000, which she would have had to pay if that were a secondary home, which it looks like it actually is, because she's still effectively living in Ashton-under-Lyne. And as she actually admitted herself, it's like a family home still, with all her stuff still there. So she's blaming poor advice from a wealth management law firm as the reason why she did this. But really, she can't get away with that because she's the deputy prime minister. And anyone who gets in trouble with the police for anything, any infraction of the law, the police and the courts would say to most people, ignorance is not an excuse. You can't claim you're ignorant of the law and then get away with it. They would give you the penalty for the offence that has been committed anyway, and they wouldn't take ignorance as an excuse or a mitigating factor. But she's trying to claim that, well, it's not my fault. I was given bad advice by a wealth management company. Well, why on earth are you going to a wealth management company that's going to tell you about how you can possibly avoid tax and pay as low an amount of money to the treasury and in tax as they possibly can? That's what a wealth management company is there for, and you have to check it out yourself. You are ultimately totally responsible for your own decisions and what you do. So really, that doesn't wash with the British public. Now, of course, she went to sit next to Keir Starmer yesterday in Prime Minister's Question Time, and she started to you turn on the waterworks and you sit there like she's a victim of everything rather than that she's the instigator of her own problems. And Keir Starmer, of course, buttered her up and saying, "Oh, I'm proud of her. She's a woman. She's a working class. She's, she's come from the streets to being the Deputy Prime Minister," all of this kind of guff. But interestingly, one of her colleagues this morning in some media interviews refused to back her in the same way that Keir Starmer has done. This is from the Telegraph, actually, and this is a statement that Bridget Phillotson, the Education Secretary, made on Sky News. She said, "My view is that we have an independent process and an independent advisor, and that's there for a reason. I'm not going to prejudge. I can't speculate on it because I'm a member of the government. I have responsibilities too in terms of how I conduct myself. I do think it's right that the independent advisor now looks at all matters on the case, all the facts, and he has the time and whatever else he needs in order to reach his conclusion." So that's one of her colleagues in the government not backing her to the hilt and saying she's done nothing wrong and she should stay in the government, stop being so nasty and beastly to her for avoiding £40,000 of tax. She's saying there's a process. Let's see what the process says and what the conclusion of the process is. And then I will come and make a decision based on what the judgment of this independent review is now, or investigation. So there is an investigation into Angela Rayner's tax affairs and what is her primary residence and what she should have done by Sir Laurie Magnus at the moment. And apparently that's going to be expedited. It's going to be one of the quickest investigations ever. And it's going to report later today on what they think she should have done and what they think should happen to her next. And it may well be that she has to resign as the Deputy Prime Minister, as the Minister in charge of Housing and Communities, when she's doing all these dreadful things in that role as well. Saying she's going to build 1.5 million homes all across the English countryside, ruining vast swathes of beautiful countryside and prime agricultural land for housing developments, 70% of which are going to go to migrants coming into the country, either illegally or illegally. And also she's doing this dreadful local government reorganization, which a recent Freedom of Information request has found out that isn't going to save any money whatsoever, unlike what they have said. They said it's going to save loads of money decimating your local councils. It's not. There's always money spent in reorganizations, which normally goes to management consultancies, and that will decimate local democracy. So if she goes, that's a good thing, because even though she's completely gobby and just talks rubbish whenever she goes into a TV studio, the things that she's actually doing in government are completely destructive to local democracy and to the environment and to agriculture and in general to our way of life. So it would be very good if she goes, and that may be what the conclusion of the investigation says today. May even be that she's suspended from the House of Commons. People have been suspended for a period of time for other things, and that's not uncommon these days. And if there's a suspension of over 10 days, then there can be a recall petition and ultimately a by-election. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it would be very good if it did. And what also looks like is happening is the Labour Party and the people in the government in the Labour Party are now fighting each other like rats in a sack, because they can sense that she's on her way out. Maybe even Keir Starmer is on his way out as well. Maybe Rachel Reeves is on her way out. Three of the top 5 in the government. Can you believe those three are 3 of the top 5 people running the country, and the other 2 are David Lammy and Yvette Cooper. It's just an absolute disaster. You know, we've just got utter fools in places of leadership in the government. But it looks like other people who are even less intelligent are trying to stick the knife in, because they sense that you know, everything is falling apart on their own side. And let's hope that it just collapses and that there is a new general election will come up. Who knows? This might precipitate it. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's very exciting to think that, well, let's hope that this lot go before 2029. Let's hope that they go in the next few weeks, not in the next few years. Now, the other thing that has come up about this is that Rayner here, there she is. I should have put this picture up before, but there she is. You can see her, you know, at the dispatch box, bizarrely. It's now also come out that the money she used to buy her second home in Hove, or part of the money, actually came from a trust which was set up for her disabled son. And she used £162,500 of that money to buy out her share of her home in Ashton, which she shared with her ex-husband, and then used that as part of the money to buy her £800,000 second home in Hove, which she declared was her primary residence, for stamp duty and tax purposes. So that's an extra nail in her coffin, which has just come out recently, and it really looks like, you know, that this is just absolutely dreadful behavior, and really it's now looking like it's very likely that she is going to be going and gone very, very soon. Let's hope so, and we'll see what happens over the coming hours and days. Let's hope this is the beginning of the end of the dreadful Starmer regime. Thanks for listening, everyone, and God bless you all.